What I wanted to say to you today, Nikki, is I wanted to ask you how you feel about going through the trouble of selling out that little corner of your soul to endorse Donald Trump. Hey guys, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark here. Look, last night Trump set out a post on his Truth Social touting that the administration has hired over 1,000 people so far. Can't wait to hear about all of them. But he then goes on to say that they will not be hiring anyone who has worked with or endorsed by Americans for No Prosperity, which is one of the Koch brothers organizations, Dumb as a Rock, John Bolton, Burberry, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, who he doesn't give a nickname to, which I guess is the best Mike Pence can come to expect these days. He goes after the Cheneys, Paul Ryan, general, question mark, Mark Milley. I think he is a general. Trump should know he hired him. James Mattis, Mark Jesper, which I think Trump seems to be mad. I don't understand Jesper as a negative nickname, just because I think the problem is that Esper said no to Trump, which is why he has earned Trump's ire. But in any event, Trump accuses all of these people of having TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. And the reason that he's doing this is to make it clear that if you're part of the old Republican establishment, right? If you are somebody who came up in a normal way in Republican politics and you are trying to work some of your channels to get a job in this new Republican administration, anybody who has worked for these people or is endorsed by these people, you're out, right? Trump loves cutting out old school traditional Republicans. This is part of not so much his retribution, but the way that he makes sure to kind of ice out anybody who criticizes him in any way. But notably, Nikki Haley is the one person on this list who endorsed Donald Trump for president, despite spending much of her primary campaign describing the threat that Trump poses to America. And I just want to say, Nikki Haley, man, she'll break your heart. If you are somebody who had been a Republican and you were sort of hoping that someone would carry the flag for decency, that somebody would stand up and tell the truth about Donald Trump. The thing about Nikki Haley is that sort of 1 out of every 5 or 6 times, she does it. And whenever she does it, it gets like a little exciting. Like, man, maybe Nikki Haley's going to do something. I'll never forget when she first announced that she was stepping down from the Trump administration. The first time, I thought, man, this is great. She's gonna primary him. She's gonna run against him. That, of course, didn't come true going into 2020. She did run against him in 2024 after saying that she wouldn't, or that she'd have to have a talk with him about it. I mean, Nikki Haley has been one of the most schizophrenic public figures in the Trump sort of era. But every now and then she gets your hopes up, is my point. And during her primary campaign, like, you saw some of these signs of life, because literally everybody else who was running against Trump just was either auditioning for a cabinet position, or like Ron DeSantis thought for a brief fleeting moment they had a chance to be president, just before Donald Trump stuffed him in a locker and told him, it's never going to happen for you, dork. But Nikki Haley, like, she had consolidated this sort of remnant piece of the party, the piece of the party that doesn't like Donald Trump. And a lot of those people that are included in that sort of Haley primary voting coalition are people that have been bleeding out of the Republican Party over the last 8 years. So many of them used to be Republicans, but they're very anti-Trump. And so she was able to extend her run. And the deeper she got into her presidential primary, the more she actually started to go hard at Trump. And I remember just getting a little bit excited by this. And I'll tell you, just here, she bashed him for cozying up to dictators, which is, I think he absolutely does. And she has him dead to rights on, and she knows a thing or two about foreign policy. She criticized him for his characterization of January 6th with, I can't remember which characterization it was. Was it a day of love? Was it a tourist visit? Whatever it was that he said, she called BS on that. And that was good to see, because nobody else was doing it. She pointed out the risk he poses to the rule of law and the Constitution. It's always really nice when you hear a Republican just saying the truth about Donald Trump. And then you may remember he mocked her husband for his military service, and she slammed him back for it, right? Like, she really got in during that primary run. It was clear, though, she didn't have enough juice to win, right? She had enough to hang in, but she wasn't going to win. And so weeks before dropping out of the primary election, she held a press conference where she, I thought, made clear how she felt, and it looked like maybe she wasn't going to be a straightforward endorser for him.
Of course, many of the same politicians who now publicly embrace Trump privately dread him. They know what a disaster he's been and will continue to be for our party. They're just too afraid to say it out loud. Well, I'm not afraid to say the hard truths out loud. I feel no need to kiss the ring. I have no fear of Trump's retribution. I'm not looking for anything from him. My own political future is of zero concern.
Yay, Nikki! All right, this is the energy I want to see. I'm loving this. We're going to keep doing this, right? This is exactly how we're going to keep approaching things. We're going to go hard. You're going to tell the truth. You're going to endorse Donald Trump. You're just going to go ahead and endorse him, like, I don't know, a few weeks later. That tracks, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's on me. It's on me for ever thinking for 1 second that you were serious about taking this principled position, and you endorsed him. Kiss the ring, number one. Number two, I think you were considering your political future. You saw no political future for yourself in the Republican Party if you continued to stand up against Donald Trump, because I don't know if you've realized this, but the Republican Party is now a wholly owned subsidiary of basically Trump Enterprises. And so I guess let's just take a look at how Nikki Haley was just a few weeks later after she dropped out.
I'll start by making one thing perfectly clear. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period. For the sake of our nation, we have to go with Donald Trump.
Boo, Nikki Haley. Boo, you at the RNC. Okay, so here's the thing about Donald Trump's bleat this morning, his little truth, in which he called her a bird brain. At least all of the other people on the list, including his own vice president, who believed about him the same things that you do, they refused to endorse him. Now, do I wish they had done more? Do I wish that they had called a press conference and told people about what they saw? Yeah, I wish they'd done that. I wish Mattis had done it. I wish Kelly had done it. But they at least just didn't say anything, right? They couldn't, I think probably because they couldn't live with themselves. They couldn't deeply humiliate themselves, betray every last principle, and go on the record and support a guy who because you, back during another one of your glimmers of truth, you were done. You were done with him after January 6th. How disgraceful it was. And it was disgraceful. And I got to say, when it comes to voters who get duped by Donald Trump, when it comes to the MAGA heads who do this, I don't know. There's nothing to be done about them. I always struggle the most with people that I know how bad he is for the country, know what a terrible person he is, know how dangerous he is for the world, and then endorse him anyway. But what I wanted to say to you today, Nikki, is I wanted to ask you how you feel about going through the trouble of selling out that little corner of your soul to endorse Donald Trump. Are you getting what you wanted from it? Is it coming back to you in space? Do you feel like you've got that piece of the Republican Party where you still get to have influence, or have you just been told, have you been called again a bird brain? Number one, he used you, by the way. He got you to stand up on that stage and endorse him just so he could continue to ritually humiliate you in the future, right? You don't have a future in the Republican Party. What are you doing now? I think you have a radio show. Your radio show, that's the end of the line. Now, there is no future for you in Republican politics. Now, you could, but I swear to God, if you do it, I'm not sure I'll ever believe you. But you could take this moment to stop being humiliated and go back to telling the truth about him and become an antagonist with some principle. But I won't hold my breath because, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 6 times, shame on me. And I just throw in here at the end. Preemptive capitulation, guys. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Maybe if you're Bezos, I don't know, you'll get to colonize Mars or something. But if you're a standard issue Republican who's going to compromise everything for Donald Trump, because you think it's going to get you somewhere in your political career, or you think it's going to get you all the speeches you want, or the influence you need to have to keep things on the rails, it's not going to do any of those things. The only thing it's going to do is make your sleep at night a lot worse. So, congrats, Nikki. Congrats on endorsing Donald Trump. This is what you're getting in return.